Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. In today's video, we are covering the top 25 teams heading into the 2023 college football season. If you do enjoy, Hmm. Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. In today's video, we are covering the top 25 teams heading into the 2023 college football season. If you do enjoy college football content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Starting off at number 25, we have North Carolina. North Carolina is led by quarterback Drake May, who is a projected top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. Looking at what Mac Brown's been able to do with this program has been nothing short of spectacular. This guy has really developed a culture with this team. If you look into last year, this is a team that struggled a little bit across that offensive line, which was a main concern. I think that will be an improved unit heading into this year, and it's going to have to be for Drake May to really take off and ascend into that top 5 status, like people think he can, really be at in terms of where he's at for draft position. 9-5 is where they were at last year, but I think in terms of actual holistic talent, this team is legit. Going to number 24, we have Oregon State. Now, Oregon State is in a peculiar position here. They had made a big change at that quarterback position. DJ Uiagalelei is a 5-star prospect that kind of fell out of favor with Clemson. That was a big deal for the program to go ahead and get him. I think they can kind of unlock a couple of different things, and he does have potential to still kind of revitalize his career and turn into a real NFL draft prospect. Oregon State was really tough last year. Offensively, defensively, they were terrific, and I think they are going to show out big this upcoming season. And at number 23, we have Baylor. Baylor is a program that had a lot of expectations heading into the year, however, finished with a 6-7 record, 4-5 in that Big 12. But once again, Dave Aranda is terrific. Now, the problem is bringing in new coordinators is a little bit tough. However, he has that ability to bring in the right staff, and I think they're going to really right the ship here, at Baylor. Overall, when you look at the actual running game, Richard Reese is a big reason for, their success in the past. And I think, I think you're going to see a tremendous amount of production from them moving forward. At number 22, we have Texas Tech, the high-flying offense. And I think when you consider with where they're at right now, the Big 12 is going to be uber competitive. I feel it is pretty open for the most part, but the Big 12 is one that we have to watch moving forward. Texas Tech, 8-5 last year, struggled a little bit in Big 12 play. However, they're going to probably win 9 or 10 games this upcoming season. At number 21, we have Washington, and Michael Penix is a big arm, tremendous athlete. This guy is likely going to also go in the first round in this upcoming draft. I think when you consider with where they were at last year, 11-2 mark, 7-2 in that Pac-12, they should be ready and raring to go. Lost a couple of prospects to the actual draft this last season. However, the fact that Penix opted to return is going to really provide well for the Washington Huskies. At number 20, we have Wisconsin. Wisconsin last year definitely saw its fair share of struggles. Big Ten play, they did not perform well. But I think despite that 7-6 record last year, Luke Fickell is going to come in and make a big impact on this program. You look at the collective body of work with what he was able to do at Cincinnati. I think the same can be done at Wisconsin. You have a better chance of recruiting as well, a little bit better in terms of a historical program perspective. So Luke Fickell's got his staff. He's got everybody with him. He's got Phil Longo, which was his offensive coordinator. This guy is legit, conducted a very, very productive offense. And to me, watch out for Wisconsin, a team that, not a lot of people are talking about at this juncture. Following that up at number 19, Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M was probably the biggest disappointment of the college football season last year. You look at what they were able to do in terms of the elite recruiting class that Jimbo Fisher had brought in. Now, when you look at, Texas A&M bringing in Bobby Petrino, I think that is going to help. I really do. You look at the programs that Petrino was able to put together. They have a ton of talent across the board. I think there's a lot of promise with this team. There's a lot of talent and another year of continuity and just some of these elite talents being able to mesh and play together. To me, there should be really no stopping this A&M program. At number 18, we have Florida. Now, Florida was 6-7 last year, 3-5 in that SEC, excuse me. And I think when you consider, Graham Mertz coming to the program, I think it's going to be a little bit of a transition. Anthony Richardson in totality didn't play super well last year, but the NFL didn't care, looking at the traits and what he could bring to the table. But I think they're going to get a little bit more out of the quarterback position in terms of some consistency, being able to throw the football. But overall, Florida is one of those teams that talent's going to outweigh, some of the expectations, I believe. And so keep an eye on Florida this year. Following that up at number 17 is TCU. TCU is a team that lost a lot of talent to the draft just because, no more Max Duggan, no more Keandre Miller and Quentin Johnson. They're all gone. So that is a big part of this team. So Sonny Dykes is going to have his work cut out for him this year. You're going to see a little bit of a regression just considering you lost so many of your skill guys. Some of the guys that were the heartbeat of the team last year. The fact that they went 13-2, they were 9-0 in Big 12 play. That was kind of out of nowhere. So them dropping from 2 all the way down to the current spots here of 17 is not one that's going to sit super well with some of these TCU fans, but we have to be a little bit realistic about the transitional year, and I think it might take a year to get back to somewhat of the form that they were at last year. Now at 16, we have Ole Miss. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin has done a lot of wonders in terms of his ability to recruit, and Jackson Dart does return, but Spencer Sanders is another one that you have to keep your eye on. The former Oklahoma State product had put together a nice season. And another one too, Walker Howard coming over from LSU was a 5-star prospect, ended up going and turning into a 4-star prospect, but nevertheless, the talented quarterback. This is going to be a competitive quarterback room heading into the year. So there's a little bit of uncertainty on how that's going to look, but Lane Kiffin has done a nice job with this team. I expect them to be pretty good next season. Utah, in terms of consistency, man, they just continue to be good year in and year out, despite losing prospects to the draft or, whatever's at the quarterback position. Cam Rising is going to be a player that is pretty exciting in terms of, where he can bring this team to, looking in totality of, where they've been at as a program. Cam Rising's been consistent for them. And once again, he's going to have another big impact, but you do see them drop a little bit from last year. This always happens with Utah. Everybody starts to sell their stock on them, and then they, kind of reel you back in, and, then you realize how good of a program that they are. At number 14, we have Florida State. A lot of great things to say about Florida State. Mike Norvell has done a good job, has done a very, very good job. First 10-win season since 2016. Jordan Travis, after watching him and Johnny Wilson last year, it was pretty clear that they had some good chemistry going into the season, but it really progressed from that point on. That LSU game really stood out to me as well. Jared Verse is another one that I'm keeping my eye on for the NFL draft. So Florida State, loaded full of talent, some continuity as well is going to help for this Florida State program. 13, we have Oregon. Oregon has done a nice job collecting talent. And I think Bo Nix is another year into this system. They should be pretty good in terms of, he surprised a lot of people. A lot of people weren't expecting that kind of production for him. 44 total touchdowns, 3,500 yards, nearly 3,600 yards. This is a good program. Former 5-star prospect as well, Jordan Bush. So in terms of staying active in the transfer portals, what they've done, they already have some guys returning that are going to help them out long-term. So this is really awesome for Oregon. At number 12, we have Tennessee. This is a big question mark because you look at Jalen Hyatt's gone, Cedric Tillman's gone, Hendon Hooker's gone. This is another product of, okay, are they going to be able to sustain the level of success that they had? They were 11-2 last year, 6-2 in that SEC, an explosive offense to say the very least. So Tennessee is one that we have to, continue to keep our eye on. Joe Milton's got a massive arm, absolutely massive arm, and he is as exciting as they come at the position. So he's one of those guys that, to me, is going to be a huge breakout candidate for this upcoming season. At number 11, we got Oklahoma, 6-7 last year. Very tough. Brent Venable, not a good year. Not a good year. First losing season since 1998. That is a tough one to swallow. Dylan Gabriel returns. the former UCF quarterback, has got another year in the system. No more Marvin Mims or Eric Gray. So that's going to hurt. That's absolutely going to hurt them. But I think this season they should improve. I don't know if I side with them saying as high as 11. I think there's a lot of other programs that are a little more, ready to go at this point. Number 10, Penn State. And Joel Klatt has talked about this too. And I firmly believe that this is the most talented team that, James Franklin has had since they won that Big Ten title. Looking at Sean Clifford is gone and Joey Porter's gone. There's a lot of things that, you have to consider here. Drew Aller is one that continues to draw a lot of praises in the college football community, rightfully so. He is got the frame, he's got the arm, the requisite athleticism to be a good college quarterback. They're going to run the football very effectively. They got the two-headed monster there. So Penn State is somebody we have to continue to have on our radar. This team is legit. Number 9, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a little bit of a bounce back. I think when you consider, Tyler Buchner is gone. Tommy Rees had left for Alabama. They took everything with them. So Marcus Freeman's got some his work cut out for him. However, the big thing for me was the transfer of Sam Hartman. I like Sam Hartman more than I like Tyler Buchner, and it's not really close. Looking at what Sam Hartman had done for Wake Forest, he was transformational for that program, put up big numbers. I think with a better offensive line in front of him, better skill position, Notre Dame's going to be a fun team to watch next season. Clemson's another one that we have to continue to watch out for. Dabo Swinney is going to me, really pick some things up. They were perfect in the ACC last year, 11-3 overall. Cade Klubnik is a player that we have to watch, moving forward. So I think Clemson could potentially outperform these rankings because they always seemingly do. Dabo Swinney just does a great job, year in and year out producing. USC 11-3 last year, 8-1 in that Pac-12. You look at Caleb Williams returning. This is going to be a Heisman campaign for him. I think that he's probably going to win the Heisman next year. But despite them losing so much talent on this offense, more specifically Jordan Addison, Lincoln Riley is going to really create the best situation here, for Caleb Williams. They're going to throw the ball a ton. That's going to be very clear and obvious this year. This team is exciting. They're explosive, and I think that's going to continue. At number 6, we have Michigan. Michigan is in a spot here. Last year, they were 3 overall, 13-1, perfect in that Big Ten. But Ohio State, 2 big wins over Ohio State, 2 Big Ten titles, with where they've been at under, Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's really, really exciting. JJ McCarthy is going to be back. I think with his experience level, that's kind of where they were lacking a little bit last year. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, transfer portal, offensive line talent. They absolutely nail it in this article, but Blake Corum is going to have a masterful year, in my opinion. The transfer Josiah Stewart as well, who was really, really good just 2 years ago, like they had highlighted here. Michigan is in a great spot moving forward. Number 5 is Texas, and this is one of those teams that's a little more projection-based, not based off of what we've seen lately. But when you look at their quality of wins last year and the big plays that they had to make, Quinn Ewers is going to have a big season. I think when you're looking at Jatavian Sanders, you also have Xavier Worthy, who's going to have a big year at the wide receiver position. Now, losing both Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson are going to provide some challenges at the position. However, I think they're going to be just fine. I really do. Their offensive line's coming back. Top receivers are coming back. They're going to be throwing the football a lot this season. A little bit of a change up from last year. Number 4, they have LSU. And LSU, 10-4 last year. Number 16 overall. Jaden Daniels is the quarterback that was a tough evaluation from last year. Struggled mightily the first couple of games, but was able to get into a nice rhythm and flow. Malik Neighbors is back, who I've been very high on. I think he's a first-round caliber wide receiver. Mason Smith, Harold Perkins coming back on that defense. They are going to be tough up front. Mason Smith is a tremendous talent. And, they had mentioned Denver Harris, Zaya Alexander, and Aaron Anderson. A lot of these guys are going to be good transfers for them. Brian Kelly's got his team set up nicely in Baton Rouge. Number 3, they have Georgia. Now, Georgia is in a spot that they haven't been for a little while. They got to figure out that quarterback position again. Is it going to be Carson Beck? Probably. I think that's where a lot of the signs are pointing. Brock Bowers is going to be back next season. He was terrific. Vlad McConkey as well. So overall, there's a lot of reason for optimism here. Their defense is going to be good. That front seven is going to be tough. But yeah, I mean, I look at Georgia as a team that's going to be tough as ever. Alabama's going to be good, though. Alabama, as every single year, we continue to have this another number 1 recruiting class. They got some new coordinators, Tyler Buchner as well. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to say that, maybe they'll go with the more experienced Buchner, but with the offensive coordinator being shaken up, Alabama's in a good spot. And then finally, number 1, we have Ohio State, which is loaded across the board. Marvin Harrison Jr., Mecca Egbuka are 2 star wide receivers, both of which are going to be selected in the first round of this upcoming draft. You look at the running back position, Travion Henderson is likely another guy that will be selected in the first. Now, the quarterback position is a little less known. Kyle McCord, Devin Brown. I'm just curious to see if they're able to replace the production of CJ Stroud, who was tremendous last year. But overall, there you go. You have the top 25 from ESPN and their rankings. So a lot of credit to them and the article here written. Just wanted to cover this, go over it with you guys. I appreciate you stopping by. If you do enjoy NFL college football content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.